Welcome to the Coda Podcast. I'm Rue from Rue Films, and today I'll be chatting with Laura and Pete Lawson, aka Lawson Films. After years of building a super successful wedding photography business, Laura and Pete took the step over into wedding filmmaking, creating spectacular films that hone in on their core values of what a wedding day experience should be: fun, laughter, and complete and utter joy. Their rise as filmmakers was stratospheric, racking up an incredible and, as far as I'm aware, unmatched 3 national wins at the Wedding Industry Awards, a run that was only ended when they accepted the invitation to become judges of the event itself. They are my absolute idols, and I am delighted to be able to have a deep dive into their story and processes today. So, Laura and Pete, how are you both? Are you okay?
Hi! Oh, it's so nice to chat with you. We are so excited about Coda.
Yeah, it's going to be so cool.
The first thing I said to you, Rue, was like, oh my God, like, we need this. We need this in the industry. Like, it's going to be amazing. Like, genuinely. And someone messaged me recently and was saying, like, you know, oh, I can't wait to come and see you guys at Coda. And I was saying, like, I can't wait. I can't wait to just watch everyone else and, like, meet everyone and, like, all be in the same room. And, like, it's just going to be, like, amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. Because there's so few things like this for videographers, aren't there?
Yeah.
Like I said to you guys previously, like, you guys were the first names that we got nailed down there. And,
amazing.
So yeah, thank you so much for putting your trust in us, basically.
Thank you.
It was an easy jump on board, really easy jump on board. We were so up for it, weren't we?
Yeah.
Super excited.
Amazing. It's no secret how obsessed I am with your guys' work, so there's a lot I want to go through, but I'm really hoping that this doesn't come across like a police interview vibe. But I'm also conscious of the time. Yeah, exactly, yeah. But initially, what would be great if you could talk to what inspired your move, because obviously your photography business was wildly successful. Then you took
I'm not sure
a massive...
about wildly.
I'm going with it. We're having it. Yeah, that's what it is. But it was a super successful business, and you were well renowned. Like, people knew who you were. But then you took the step over into video. What inspired that move, that change?
We had like a big long break one year. So
Yeah.
I think we had like barely any weddings from like October to like March, you know, like we had a big long break.
And it was something we were always interested in. I think like having that break meant we
got bored enough
experiment
to think of like, oh, I'm kind of bored. Should we like, maybe we could look into video. It kind of just came to our mind, didn't it?
Sorry about the noises in the background. Our dogs just decided to have a little scratch this time.
But yeah, we had always loved video, but loads of people had put us off it.
Yeah.
Like working with videographers, everything, like we'd always say like, oh yeah, I kind of fancy doing video. And then they'd be like, oh, the editing will like kill you. Or like audio's really hard. Like doorbell. The speeches, the ceremony, like all that stress, you know, like they put all the kind of negative on us a little bit. And it put us off, and we thought, oh, we can't do that. It's a totally different thing, and you know, we have no clue what we're doing.
Yeah.
But then because we'd had this long break, we were like, let's look into it. We started like just watching everything on like YouTube.
And also, I mean,
like wedding film school, we just got like really deep dived into, because we're quite obsessive people. You know, like if we get a bee in our bonnet, that's like we're like, okay, like laser focus.
Yeah.
Like, right, obsessed with that. And we just spend all day like learning how to do video basically. And then we just started randomly buying equipment. You know, we're just like, let's get a Steadicam and just go play in the park with our Steadicam. You know? And like, I mean, we bought so much shit that is like literally in the attic now. We never use it.
There's a slider somewhere. Like, it's like all videographers use sliders. We'll buy one of those.
Not a slider.
Yeah.
That's definitely wedding film school, like
totally
influencing you, isn't it?
Just like, oh, this looks cool. Let's get this.
And then like you put it on, and then like you go from one side to the other, and it just goes doosh. And you're like, what happened?
So hard to use, so fun. And we use like barely any equipment now. It's so funny, but like, you know, like when you first look into it, that's the thing that kind of, there's all these toys, and you know, like we kind of went into that.
But you've got to figure out what you'd like and what you don't.
Yeah. And then the next step was we just said to a few of our photographer mates, like, do you know anyone who's like getting married and not having a video, but you think might like one? And because we thought, well, we need to do this at a wedding. We filmed loads of stuff like around the house. We went away with friends for the weekend and we filmed that, you know, just so we could learn how to like use Final Cut and like, you know, just have a little play. But then it was like, we're going to need to do a wedding, you know, because we might absolutely hate this, like, and who knows until you're there, like it could be awful. So we did that. We were like, right, let's book a few in that are just like us turning up, like, and really so low key. These people, like, we spoke to them before we'd go to their wedding, and we'd be like, we're photographers. We don't know how to make a wedding film. We really like played it down. We've no clue. It could be so shit. You could get nothing. You know, like really negative about it. And then. So that they then obviously were like, oh my God, this is amazing. You know, they loved them because we'd really kind
any
of
old
played
shit
it down.
they were happy with. Yeah.
But the first wedding we did, it was like, oh, this is what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
This is really fun. I love this. This is so cool because there's so many similar things to photographing it, but all the things that are annoying when you're taking pictures don't apply. You know, like they're just different, aren't they? Chalk and cheese. And it was just like, oh, okay, you do group shots. I'm going to film this tree. You know, and I was just like, this is the best day ever because we love weddings. Like, we already loved, like, you know, the people and the vibe and everything, but it was all that annoyance was gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's only the group shots that are annoying, really.
The group shots.
I like portraits. I like every other bit. It's just like just waiting around, like, come on, where's Uncle, whatever, you know, like, he's at the bar, he's at the loo.
I think with our pictures, we got to this point where we've been doing it for, I don't even know how long.
It was 10 years when we started.
Okay, so we've been doing it, pictures for 10 years and like 40 weddings a year, like, you know, quite a lot. And I think it had got to this era where people were starting to come to us constantly with like Pinterest, you know, like it was like the Pinterest era of like, you know, before that, because we were really like documentary style, we just wanted to wander around and like capture the vibe and get people like joyful and all of that and be kind of left alone because we're like quite introverted. And it got to this time where people just wanted to do, oh, I've seen this on Pinterest, like, you know, loads of like posy stuff, and it started to annoy us. So
yeah, in the hills of California, like, can you make my wedding in Manchester look like this?
Yeah,
it's like,
there's
no.
like sunset photos and stuff, and we were a bit like background irritated, like I just want to do what we wanted, you know. And then it was like, right, well, let's make a film, and we can do all the things we love about taking pictures, and people leave us alone. And
Plus,
we can
I think
just capture it.
we were
all.
also like, when we, you know, because we'd had a child like that year. He was like, was he 1 even when we starting to do
he was
filming weddings?
Little, yeah.
And like we'd filmed like little bits of him on our iPhone, like over and over, and we'd taken like cool professional pictures, because we do it for a living and we're professionals.
Yeah.
And it's like you find yourself like just looking at like the cute little videos of him like giggling and stuff, and more than like the pretty pictures in nice light, and you're like there's something to this.
Yeah.
You know, the sounds
and
the movements.
Like video more than we loved pictures, but we were taking pictures as our job, and it was like, we should be making films. This just all made sense. Also, I was obsessed with film at uni. I used to do a lot of like, so I did like an arty degree, and so if I ever got a chance, like my dissertation was about film and stuff, and so it was always something I really loved. But you hated the idea of like editing.
Oh yeah, I was like, no, I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm fine.
Not doing the edit because my brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I'm fine filming it, but I hate the idea of that. And I was like, I would love to do that. Like super passionate about the idea of just like filming everything that happens and then cobbling it together and, you know, like changing making the story really after. I was like super passionate about that side of it. So I think it just made sense, you know, at the time.
So those roles as well, because am I right in thinking that so Laura, you do all the editing, don't you? Is that right?
Yeah.
And was that role kind of like, so from the start, was that going to be the outset?
Literally.
That was going to be...
That was like Pete's thing. He was like, we can do this, but I'm not editing it. Yeah. And I'm like, fine, deal. And then over the years, like as our little boys got older and kind of has more things going on, it's made more sense for us, like just as a family, for Pete to shoot more solo. So he does a lot more without me now. At the beginning, we did them all together.
Yeah.
And because a lot of them are like, weirdly, all our weddings are like 5 hours from our house, pretty much. That's like the average.
Basically, yeah.
So it was like us leaving on a Friday and getting home on a Sunday. and it just made more sense for like, Pete,
Yeah.
can you do some of them like without me? And because I was just it was too much for me to be there Friday to Sunday and then have this like mini edit window, they'd all pile up. So it ended up like it works better when you do. I mean, I probably shoot like 10 maybe with you a year.
Yeah, so like a third of them are Laura's,
But the rest of the time I am edit cave. Yeah.
And when you're shooting together, does your the processes change? Do you take up certain roles on the day itself, or are you both literally shooting it?
It should.
You're the only people?
Should. It would make so much sense if we did that route, but because of the type of people we are, we just pretend the other one doesn't exist, basically, don't we?
Yeah, basically.
And we end up with double the footage.
So we do separate like in the morning
Yeah.
and stuff. And
I guess a lot of your
shooting...
unmanned cameras are then manned by me.
Yeah,
I guess it's more that.
Yeah, if Laura's at the front in the ceremony, she can obviously man that camera. Whereas when it's just me, I'm like
abandoning and running around,
abandoning the back cameras and manning the front. Or you know how it is,
as
it's just
does.
yeah. It's a bit easier, when Laura's there. That's what we say to couples as well. Like it's just logistically easier.
But the end product is similar. But I think we just shoot the rest of the day. We are just kind of ignoring each other and shooting everything pointlessly and having a lot of kind of double footage of stuff.
My favourite bit is though, like when the ceremony ends and like as videographers, you're just like packing up all your equipment for what seems like 5 hours while the whole wedding happens. Like I know like Laura can be out there capturing that bit. Yeah. And I'm just like, I can
go and collect all the mics.
So do this without, damaging my tripods anymore because I'm in such a panic to just throw them away and just get out there and like they'll hug all the mums and dads and all the moments are over.
Yeah.
That I always find a struggle with that. Like, when do I pack my stuff? I want to do it. I try now. Ceremony. I do it during the signing of the register because I think I don't film that bit. Get it all packed up so I'm ready to go because all the best stuff happens as soon as they come out of the ceremony, doesn't it? So you need to be ready for it.
Exactly.
So having a second for that. Yeah. But also imagine having a second shooter that year. Getting the ceremony set up for you so you can stay with the bride for as long as possible. Yeah. So it would be like, the absolute dream.
Just having that extra pair of hands, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does make life easier having two. But a lot of our couples are quite like low-key people, aren't they? And they prefer to have one. I think you'd assume that, they're going to choose one based on budget, but I think most of the time it isn't that. I think they genuinely just want less cameras in their face, and they think, no, that's going to suit us.
Yeah, that's so true, because I think, quite often there are like two photographers, if there are then also two videographers.
So it's a big crew, isn't it?
It is a lot of visible people. I think
when we
cameras.
shoot together as well, and there is like two photographers, a lot of the time I am like, this is funny. Like they'll walk out of the ceremony and there's like 4 of us in a line. And it's just like, no, I'm going to go. And I'll be like, I'm going to go and get a weird angle from the side or shoot their feet or, like shoot from behind or whatever, just to like get out of this like crew of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And with I imagine, because you already had an established business and then you took this dive into filmmaking, and did you kind of realise early on that you wanted to move your business toward, were you thinking you wanted to have it to complement the photo side, or were you always thinking long term move more into video?
No, I think we always thought let's keep we never wanted to kill the photo side because we love taking pictures. We literally just photographed one this weekend. Like it feels like wholesome and natural, and I don't know, just
it's like coming home. We did it for so long.
It's just like part of who we are. Like when you're filling out a form and it asks your occupation, I just default write photographer. Even now, I can't. I don't even know what word to use. Filmmaker. What's
videographer?
Like what is the right word? I don't know. It doesn't feel. I still feel like we've just started. Do you know what I mean? And like that doesn't quite.
And
fit.
Also, I think like with video, it's weird because you've got that divide, haven't you, between like film, like cinema, and like video, which is like events, which is what we do, isn't it? Which is like, not seen as good at all. And like, but with photographer, it's just photographer. It's not like, I'm a, fashion photographer, or I'm a, whatever. It's, you could just say photographer and that'll do. Sums it all up.
But no, we wanted to have both. We like that idea of having basically like two businesses side by side, didn't we? And we just thought, we'll see how it goes. We're not saying like, right, we only want like 10 photo bookings, or we don't like put a rule on it. It's just like whoever books that day and whatever that's for, that's good. But it's really nice when you have like a video wedding and then the next weekend you've got a photo wedding. Like it just, you know, like all the things that annoy you about filming.
Yeah. Being slow,
or
sluggish,
they're so
carrying
fun.
all the
like,
stuff.
Literally, we're photographing this wedding and it's like, oh my God, like I'm so chill during the speeches, like the ceremony, you know, like all the bits where...
Yeah, you can come in
You're a
like
bit
5 minutes, you know, like
stressed.
2 minutes from the end of the speech, can't you?
Literally,
Like, get a few shots.
yeah.
You could fuck off, couldn't you? You
You
could come in, get
could.
your 10 pictures and leave.
Yeah. Like I rocked up 2 minutes before the ceremony, like with the bridesmaids, just jumped out the car, shut the ceremony, you know, like it's so chill. So I think there are lovely things about like both those jobs. And I think it really suits us to do like both.
Yeah, it feels like a bit of a mental reset as well, like a bit of a break. You know, if when we're doing like a decent amount of each, it's like, oh, this one's video, this one's pictures. You know, it's refreshing and stops you getting too like you can focus on like things that are going wrong at weddings, can't you? Like, oh, this is starting to annoy me. But then if you do something that's like kind of totally different,
keeps you fresh.
Yeah, just resets you. Like, don't even need to worry about that thing.
But I think just building up the film business, it made it so much easier. The fact that we had a photography business and that it was good, you know, the fact that we already like had enough money meant that we could then just play with the film. That was like a hobby, really.
Yeah, because the first 7 or 8 weddings we did them for free.
Yeah, and then we
were
were
just like to our photographer friends, like you know, like kind of like last minute bookings, just like, do you have any weddings coming up that might be cool? Like a couple of weeks before, like whenever you chat to them, like, can you see if they want like a free video?
Yeah.
Let them know it's probably going to be shit. You know, but it's just like, because like, if they wanted a video, they would have already booked one.
Yeah.
And you know that like it's like lower your expectations.
Yeah.
Like it could be lovely, it could be terrible, and you pay nothing for it. So.
But we basically did those 7 weddings, and then we entered TWIA, just so that we could put on our website that we were shortlisted for our region. That was our goal. We were like, cool, we've done these 7 weddings. Let's get this on our website, and that'll make us like...
Let's make us look proper.
Let's make it look like we know what we're doing, you know? Yeah. And then we won our region that year.
No way.
Right? So we literally were like, what the hell?
I remember just being at because it was at Maiden Hall, and I'm just at the back of the room,
chill.
like, are you...
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like
are you joking? Are you joking?
Yeah.
And that was amazing.
For context, you guys are Northwest, aren't you, as well? Northwest
Yes.
region. Which
And
is
there's so
notoriously
oh my God.
massively competitive.
So many amazing people. And it was like, I'll never get over that moment.
Yeah.
And then it was amazing because it meant that we met loads of videographers, and we were suddenly like, they were talking to us like we were in the club. You know, it was like, cool.
We belong.
Because before that, you feel like, oh no, they're all going to hate us because we're photographers, you know, and there's like a divide, and you know, they're going to know we have no idea what we're doing,
Absolutely.
you know. But then it was so good because we'd like, you know, we had a little crew, you know, and like that is so important to like have a little tribe of people that do what you do, isn't it? Like,
Totally. Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't realise then that was your first year that you won your regionals.
Literally,
that
with
was
weddings
amazing.
we did for free. Like, what the hell? It was crazy.
Yeah.
And then we were like, right, well, we'll be like 500 quid. Let's just be cheap and just keep, you know, we just need to get a website together with like loads of films on it. So we were like, what, 500 quid? We did one in Italy for 500 quid. You know, like they were really cool weddings, you know, and it was just like
not even covering
chance.
your flights, is it?
I know, literally cost us money to shoot that wedding, but just, you know, so we could really, it was our hobby. We wanted to just keep playing, didn't we?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
After winning those awards, was it a case of, right, now we maybe need to put our prices up and reflect it, or did you just carry on as you were, or? We
started at 500, and then I think we jumped to 1,000.
I think it was
and
1,000.
because we already had a job, you know, we didn't it didn't matter if nobody booked us. We were like, right, well, we'll just be really ballsy, because I think with pictures we took so long to raise our prices, like, over the years.
Yeah,
we're so scared about it.
I think we missed the window as well with pictures.
Yeah, where we could have whacked it up and we didn't. We were like, no, we like this bracket.
Because we were like, you know what, we were like, right, like on trends at the right time with pictures.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of like bottled it in terms of like, we just got stuck at like 2000.
Yeah.
And then
for years.
But we probably could have pushed it a bit more.
Yeah. So we were like, right, well, let's just be really ballsy with video. So we literally went, I think, 500, and then like a few months later we were 1,000, and then a few months later we were 2,000. You know, we were just like boom, 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 done.
And then like, it wasn't even that much later that we put it up to like 3,000.
Yeah. And
then we were there for a while. And then
they were like, "Fuck it, let's be 4."
Well, because we were like debating, because I think it was it not long after COVID, and you know, like bookings went mental, didn't they? And everyone was putting the prices up, and like this is great. This is what's going to be, you know, our lives from now on. Just, you know, pushing everyone away. You can't book me. You can't book me. I'm too busy.
Yeah.
And anyway, I was. We were thinking, should we put it up £500? Should we put it up £1,000? And then I did 2 weddings in a row with like a £5,000 photographer, and it was just like, you know what? If they booked him, and us, and we're like, you know, half the price or whatever, like, you know, we just need to.
You need to be in the same zone.
Yeah, we stuck it straight up to 4,000, which has been all right.
Yeah,
I think.
And then we'll
see. It could go back down.
But then we changed it to 5 for both of us and 4 for you.
Oh yeah. It was 4 for me and 5 for both of us.
Like, we definitely have been more ballsy about it, and just like, fuck it. What's the worst that can happen? We put them back down. You know.
Yeah.
Because we've also got like the photography business that we could put the price way down for that if we're like desperate for money, and maybe keep the video as it is, and you just play around with it.
Yeah.
My experience is almost identical to yours in terms of like, I've moved over from photo, and I was able to be a lot more, it's the same, adventurous with my pricing for video, but also needed to, because if I was going to, because the editing is so much longer, I needed to be hitting the same pricing as my photo to make it worthwhile.
Exactly.
So putting them up quick, and then you realise, like, why didn't I do this before?
Yeah, it makes no difference.
Photo.
Yeah, you really like, oh God, £1,000 more is like crazy, and then it's like, it literally makes no difference to your business. You're just plucking a number out of the air. It's mad. And it really like makes a difference, doesn't it? And you've got so much more time. You don't have to do as many weddings. Like, it just, you know, is great.
Yeah.
I think when you're in a lower price bracket, you think that the people that are having weddings that are like £100,000 are like alien people. They're not like your people. They're nothing like you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main thing you realise is like, okay, well, they're just completely the same. You know, like, there's no difference. Like, people are people, and they have beautiful weddings, and they'll, you know, have spent loads of money on things, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's the same thing, isn't it? It's just people, like, all their favourite people, and the joy, and the, like, you know, laughter, and it's the same thing, you know?
Yeah. But also, I think, especially with your guys' work, it's filled with joy, isn't it? As weddings should be, right? But I think that the people that kind of that want to book you guys want that in their work as well, and they see themselves reflected in that. Do you think that's fair? Like
definitely. Definitely. And we really try and like sort of push that out as well. Like, our website is not very like corporate, or there's no real, you know, kind of common videography terms in there or anything. It's very just like simple. We like simple people that are just happy and want to get married, you know? So it's like trying to make your work reflect that, but also just everything you put out, you know, and just make it appeal to those people and put off the people that would be like, oh no, you know, like, hopefully, like, you know, we won't be suited to everyone. You know, some people want something really serious and cinematic, and, you know, and that's not, we're not going to be good at that.
Yeah,
you know?
We're not cool.
No.
You know, we're happy about that.
Yeah. So we want like normal people that are going to be really open, you know, and like whether it's like tears and like emotion, but like you say, like joy, just like it all being like authentic. And I think, you know, you've got to put out what you want to receive, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it felt like to me, at the times when you guys broke through, burst onto the scene, it was a sea of Phil White clones, kind of piano music, slow.
Yeah.
And then your work just pierced through that with like bright colour, happiness, fun. And was that intentional, or was that literally you just following your taste?
I think it's just following what's in you, isn't it? And I think we can't help but do that just because we've been, you know, shooting weddings for so long. That was just who we were, and we just automatically, like when you're a documentary photographer, you're looking for the high point and the people like at the height of a laugh, or, you know, that's what we wanted, that like extreme emotion, and it made sense for us to just like film them in exactly the same way.
Yeah, and we're very like kind of people centric in our work.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of faces and interaction and less about like kind of like cool compositions and shifting shadows and things like that, which I think is what a lot of kind of like the Philip White, you know, stuff is like. I love Philip White's work,
Same.
but it's you know, it's not how I see the world. It's how he sees the world, which is awesome. But I shouldn't try and be someone else.
I think really we can't help it either. Like our style is just like our style, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think like a lot of people were like, oh, they're so warm. You know, like I think a lot of people either weren't grading films or they were very like cool toned. And like to me, like it just has to be warm. You know, it's like joyful. It seems wrong to be cool to me.
Yeah, like the Blue movies. You know, Blue movies is different. But like, if you go to the cinema and see like a film that has like a blue tone, it's going to be like sci-fi or you know, like horror or something. It's, you know, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not about like love and happiness and warmth, which is what weddings are. So, you know, we're not trying to just go for a different look because I liked it in you know, some film.
Yeah.
The grading kind of like has to complement the, you know, the wedding.
Yeah.
There's real similarities between your photo and your video kind of grading as well, isn't there? It's kind of, you go for those warm kind of tones in your photos as well, don't you?
I think it's like skin tone as well, isn't it? I think we always like try and shoot for the skin tone and make people look glowy. And
having said that, I mean, we went through like, you know, like when we were 2-3 years into our photography, we got the Totally Red Actions, and we were all about those cross-processed, you know, vibes.
Maybe we went through a lot of the experimentation in our photography era. So I think we were very much like, this is who we are. By the time we started making films, it was like, it's about the joy. We want it to be warm and happy and, you know, kind of knew who we were by then. Yeah.
But also, I guess you didn't need to, because you already had a business there established, when it came to making the video side of it, you could do it exactly how you wanted. Like when you're starting like a photography business, you're almost trying to people please to a certain extent, aren't you? Until you find yourself.
Yeah, work out what the trends are. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're doing this as like a hobby, it's like, well, not a hobby, sorry, as a passion project initially.
Yes.
It's like, if you want to do it exactly how you want it, and then build a business around that.
Totally. Passion project is the right way to talk about it, I think. And it still feels like that. And I think we make films that we really like. That's the thing. And it's like, as much as, you know, it is for the couple, obviously, but like it's important to us that like we love it and it feels like what we would like to receive.
Yes.
You know?
I wanted to go into a little bit of nerdy gear talk for briefly, if that's okay with you guys. So at the moment, what does your gear setup look like? Quite like briefly, if you could.
So we are Canon.
Yeah.
At the moment, aren't we?
Yeah.
Lens wise, most of the day is on a 50. Both of us would shoot most of the day on a 50, all handheld as much as possible.
Like wide open. You like 1.4. Like your films seem very shallow depth of field.
Yeah, we like a shallow depth of field.
Yeah, so our 50s they're both 1.2. and we tend to shoot
maybe about
like
1.6.
1.4, 1.6.
Yeah.
Just to take a little edge, because it gets quite soft at 1.2.
Yeah.
And you get, you know, if you get any kind of like backlight or anything, you get like weird fringing. So
Yeah.
you know, play it safe. Dance floor, I'll shoot at 1.2.
Yeah.
But yeah, close to wide open.
Yeah.
With
We
the
always
lenses.
manually focus as well. I think that's something a lot of
Apart
people.
from for like confetti.
Yeah.
Anything on the gimbal, which is like 2 shots for us, you know, we're on autofocus, but
Yeah.
everything else manual.
Just because we don't like that kind of, you know, where it kind of judders in and out vibe.
Because even when I had to do the confetti, I get really pissed off with the autofocus, and it's just like, there's 2 people in the middle. Why are you trying to focus on like
That guy.
the row, like
Yeah.
the little things right over these people? Why are you jumping around? Stop it.
Yeah. Just control freaks. Me.
Yeah.
Because that always interests me how, like, because it's your handheld for like 99%, right? But then
Yeah.
there's always a gimbal confetti shot pops up.
Yeah.
And so how I really want to know the process of getting the gimbal set up in time, like, because that's the
Yeah.
panicky pack down. What's your process for that? Getting the gimbal set up.
Exactly as you described, like panic.
Panic.
Yeah.
Right. So, like you said, you pack up when they're signing the register. That's when Pete will get his gimbal ready, so he can do them walking out of the church or the ceremony, and then be ready for that confetti shot, which
Yeah.
often happens pretty soon after, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then you just scramble around,
Yeah, 'cause I've
packing
got-
up then.
Yeah, I have like 3 cameras for the like the ceremony or speeches bit. So yeah, I'll move one camera that's like on a wide, on a little tripod, and then I've got like 2 cameras free to play with. So I'll have, you know, one's at the side for if I don't get the gimbal set up in time.
Yeah.
So I can just switch to that. Probably got a 50 on it. Get them walking anyway. Try and get one on a gimbal, and then I've got like just 2 cameras to switch between. So confetti time, pick up the camera on a gimbal. If anything else is going on, I've got the other one to
Yeah.
kind of shoot things with. It sounds like it's really slick, but it's not at all. It's
Really
just like total
bumbling.
like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Do you need to calibrate a gimbal then? Like, I've never really
Have
used
you
one.
never
to be
used
honest,
one?
But
yeah.
no, I've got one, and I've tried like around my house. And I was like, this looks horrendous. Like,
Yeah.
it's making me feel seasick when I look at the footage back. So
Yeah.
I've just
Yeah,
given
like
up on
you
it.
don't need to do it, and
Yeah,
like-
you don't need one. It's one of those things, isn't it?
I
It's like,
think
yeah, it is a bit annoying to get calibrated, and yeah, it is. It's a bit annoying.
I think it's one of those things that Lauren makes me do.
Yeah, because I'm like, no,
Yeah,
like,
because I've handheld confetti
You're
and
very
walking out.
shaky.
I'm not shaky.
he's not a smooth. He's very juddery. He has way too much caffeine, so he's like a bit of a war film confetti vibe.
Which I think could be cool. Like, oh shit, it's good. There's confetti everywhere. Like, take
That
cover.
instantly appealed to me when you said that line, war film confetti film.
No, but the trouble is, because I'm the only one that edits, and a lot of the time Pete will be sent off to these weddings. You know, he comes back and I'll have notes. You know, I'll be like, okay, next time you need to use the gimbal, Pete.
Do
That
it
was
yourself.
Way too shaky. Come on.
Oh, just
Is that
got
like
a
a
new
24 mil on your gimbal?
35.
Yeah, 35.
35.
Yeah, so because I still want the shallow depth of field. 24 is just too.
Too much.
It's too much. Just everyth's in focus.
Too
I'm
real.
very much like, look at this and nothing else. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
For your multicams then, what's your setup? So for the ceremony, you said you have like a wide. Is it a wide at the back and then
Yeah.
you've got 2 tighter angles?
It's 35 at the back, sometimes 24.
Low
35
down.
low down, that's my wide, and then I've got either a 50 or an 85 on the other camera next to it. They're basically like on top of each other. And then I'll have another camera with an 85 or a 50 like somewhere at the front, wherever I can
Get a face.
see, you
Yeah.
know.
And we'll just choose
That's
like...
you've got that one. You're holding the one at the front.
No,
like the
all tripods for
tripods,
ceremony. Yeah, I can't carry cameras for that long, and I hate monopods. I'm just like, I
Yes.
never want to look at a monopod again. Our
We
first few
started
years were
with-
monopods,
yeah.
and like never again.
Just like, it was so annoying. Like, there'd be like something happen, like a kid would run in and do something cute, and it'd be like, hang on, just need to... So annoying.
Yeah, or I'd hit people with it. So many shins I've taken out with the bottom of a monopod. Yeah, yeah.
Especially coming from photo as well, where you've had
Yeah.
that freedom to move and capture
Yes.
things. It's
Suddenly
it's
stuck
having
to a
stick
pole.
attached to you all day.
Yeah.
Well, because when we first
Yeah.
started, what were we on? We were on the
5D Mark IVs.
and Mark III and a C100,
Yeah.
none of which had like in-body stabilization. So
And then we
had to use
switched to
them on a phone.
Sony and we could hand hold, and it was like, oh my god, this is like the
Yeah.
future. People need to talk about this.
And and you could just about forgive like the awful colours that come from Sony because like we could move around.
You could move.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world.
And then they got stolen, and we were like, well, we'll go back to the promised land of Canon.
Yes.
Maybe they've sorted things out. And they mostly had, so
We're on Canon R5s now, which we really love.
Yeah. And a Canon R6 Mark II, which I don't love as much. So I should be filming this with that because it doesn't have a record limit, but I'm like, no, it doesn't look as pretty, so no.
So how many of your cameras are? Is it only one of your cameras that's unlimited record time then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you orchestrate that on on the ceremonies? Like if the two cameras are at the back that you're not near, is it just generally that it's going to be within that time limit anyway, or?
So it'll always be an R6, which is one of the unmanned ones.
Yeah,
And
just so you know you've got one.
It's been ages
definitely.
since it's been an issue, actually. We've not been doing very many church ceremonies lately. But yeah, it'll always be like one that has an unlimited record limit that I can't, is the one of the ones I can't get to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not been an issue. I normally set like a little half an hour timer on my watch to help me out for
Go check.
Speeches is the only time like that normally becomes an issue.
Yeah. But at least you
When
can
I
get
just
around to
forget.
your cameras
Yeah,
then.
you just kind of run around, don't you? Just like, is it good? Has anyone kicked this?
Yeah. And half an
What I
hour
always
is quite
find,
a long
what I
time.
love about your work as well, your speeches angles are always really interesting. Like, whereas I often find myself playing it quite safe to make sure I got coverage. It always seems to your films, you've at least got one sexy angle. And so, can you talk me through
You've got
what
to
your
get a
thought
sexy
process is for
angle.
speeches?
We don't want any angles
Yeah.
that are shit. And this is it. Like, I think we're just really, it's annoying. It's
That's
like a
something-
perfectionist trait where you're just like, if this is shit, like the backup angle idea just doesn't work for us, because if I had to use it, I'd hate that.
Yeah,
you know?
like if one of the things that stands out, like when we're like judging the films for like TWIA, is like as like pretty like weird wide angle of a ceremony from the front. It looks like
Yeah.
shot on a GoPro,
And I totally
you're just
get
like,
why you do that.
and I know it's a safe angle, but
Yeah.
you've had to go to it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what's that in the middle
It's
of
so
your film?
jarring,
like, it's
isn't it?
jarring.
Yeah.
It's not a safe angle. It's like you go to that.
Yeah.
It's like danger. It's a danger angle.
Yeah.
If you've got one angle that looks shit and you have to use it, you fucked it. You know.
Words to live by, right there. So what you
So
talk me
extreme.
through? You've got some speeches that you're about to cover.
Yeah.
How are you going to set your cameras up for that? I know it's different for every kind of.
I think it's
event,
quite similar to what I've seen from your diagrams you've shared online before.
Yeah.
So I've normally have like an 85, both sides,
one
like
on
down
one
the long
side.
table.
Yeah.
And have like a 35 or a 50 one that's more like in the middle, and I'll either try and get like a nice-ish shot of as much of the top table, or I'll focus that on the bride
Just
and
a
groom,
couple. Yeah.
depending on what I can get for that one, whatever kind of like looks nice-ish.
But we very much like throughout the speeches just want to get a sexy shot of the speaker. So it's like those two that we have on each side, we're very much like trying to get the best angle of the speaker. I know a lot
Yeah.
of people, and I love it, will get like reactions, like they'll be hand holding at the same time and just like going around getting reactions
Yeah.
and stuff. And it's like, no, we just focus on sexy speaker,
Yeah.
and just really put the effort into that.
Yeah, because I think like we're thinking that the full film is like the highlights or the like 15-minute feature or whatever you're
Yeah.
doing. Like
We want to cut to
we
that
deliver the
speaker.
full speeches, but I don't feel like they need to look like they were the main event. When you're watching like a 45-minute speeches, I don't think you need to be so entertained that there's constant cutaways to all the guests that have been spoken about. And let's also be honest, that's like 30 seconds of a speech. So it's going to be like 3 static angles for most of it. And then like all of a sudden, like slightly shaky angle of, someone that's been spoken about. And it's a lot of extra stress to put on yourself, I think, to get those extra
We just decided,
bits.
right, let's focus on getting a solid job of the actual speeches.
Yeah, because quite often I'll have like all 3 cameras focused on the speaker.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that's the bit I'm going to want to use in the film.
One of them
is
will
a
be
nice
good.
shot of that. And it's like, I'll try and include like the bride and groom in the shot, like, but they'll be out of focus, but you'll still be able to see their reaction to it, which I think is normally enough. But then, like, not always. Sometimes I'm like, oh, the bride and groom look really beautiful on this angle, so I'm going to focus on them, and the other ones will be on the speaker.
Pete is really ADD as well in speeches, so we will constantly...
Is this the notes section? Is this...
Yeah. Constantly be moving the camera to find a better, like, I'm going to shoot through these candles, I'm going to move it. Like, he's, like, constantly trying to make it look better.
Bruce said we normally have a sexy angle.
I know.
So,
I mean, but that's why, because it's like, you don't just put your camera up and think, well, this is safe, this is going to get it. It's like, how can I make it look sexy? Like, that's important.
I'm delighted to hear that. I'm delighted because
like so much
whenever I see your speeches angles, I'm thinking that would take me so much trial and error and messing up shots to do that. So I'm glad that
like, we need to show you a full like multicam so you can see like, like he's moving again. He's wonky. Oh, that looks shit. That looks shit. Oh, cool. That looks good. Like it is.
He's shooting through some candles.
Yeah.
Or you might be like, oh, that looks good. Like, oh, he's still moving. He's still moving. Oh, he's just straightening his camera out a fraction of a degree.
No
I can do that. Like when I'm editing. Like, okay, no, you needed to do that. You lost another 30 seconds of the speech just for that, did you? Well done, Pete. Yeah.
So often I've got a perfect angle, and then I can see out the corner of the frame me coming over to it to move it and make it worse.
Why?
If I just left it.
Why? Yeah, we all do that.
Can we quickly talk about how, because for the context of talking about your work, if we can, you can go through your packages for us and what you deliver?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we have 2 packages.
One or two?
Yeah, 1 or 2.
Simple.
1 or 2 shooters?
Yeah.
1 or 2, and you get the same stuff afterwards. So it's like we do a 4-minute highlights, a 15 to 20 minute feature. They get full speeches and ceremony, and we do like a little. We have included it on the website finally now because of like content creators. But like we do like a little 1-minute
like an
Instagram film, like the day or 2 after, just so people. That's our main marketing, and people go a bit mental for that if they get it like really, really soon.
Yeah.
Quite often we get that to people before like the photographers manage to send any pictures over, and it's
it's like the first thing they've seen of their wedding. So it's like
the thing that they share first is the thing that's going to get the most kind of traction. And it's not like we're trying to compete with a photographer for that. It's just like we're just throwing something out there, like, well, you have a really quick look through the footage and it's just like, oh, bit from that part of the day, bit from this part of the day, done, here's some stuff. There's no real thought that's gone into it. I'm not saying zero thoughts gone into it. Thrown together, thrown out the door, because it's a little preview, just like, if you photograph a wedding, you just like, can I remember any picture from the day, anything that stood out? I'll try and find that, and 2-3 of the pictures, send them over, done. Like it's that kind of vibe. The couple love it, but it's quite, I won't say low effort, because you are doing it, but it's not the same amount of work that goes into everything else about the day.
Because I always see on your Instagram and they go, oh, yesterday was such a good day. Like, what? Yesterday? This was from yesterday, this video that you're showing. So, I'm obsessed with this as well. And I'd really like to, if we can quickly dive into that a little bit. Yeah. So you're delivering these like 1-minute teaser trailers almost quite often the day after, aren't you, the wedding?
Yeah.
And do you have like music ready before? And what's the workflow of getting it out that fast, basically?
I literally will go on to usually Music Bed, but I mean, we subscribe to them all because you do run out of music. But yeah, I'll go and choose a 1 minute-ish track. At least Instagram now have made it so it can be longer, which is great. But I'll just choose a random, normally just like a generic piano. I'll just search for like piano, uplifting, 1 minute 30 and under. Yeah, that's nice, done, right, got my music. And then like Pete said, I will literally just import all the footage and have a little look through, and I'll be like, right, okay, first of all, if I wasn't at the wedding, who are the bride and groom? I'll skip to the like first kiss, right, grab the first kiss, cool, go get some confetti, get a couple of shots of her in the morning, couple of shots of him, like 3 shots of people mingling, they walk into the meal, they dance, done, you know? So it's just looking for like key moments of the day and boshing it all in, and but you know, really not looking. I can't look at everything, you know. There'll be millions of clips.
It's just too much good
it's
stuff.
Just so
you know?
much, Pete. But yeah, it's more like going to get what you need rather than like B-rolling the whole wedding, you know. If I did it that way round, it would be like 3 weeks before I could make it, you know.
I'd be worried, like if I tried to do it, I think because even though they're a minute, you get a lot of footage in there, like in these trailers. And I'll be thinking, they've seen all my best stuff now. I've got nothing for the highlight film. But
yeah, but I mean,
I'm
we're holding
Pete,
back all the audio. Like, you know, we've not synced anything up.
That's the key.
No,
Like, there's been the odd one where there was one where like their friends did like a little. I think they all worked in theatre and they did like a little impromptu, like a flash mob style song.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, we got to use that for the Insta because it was short as well. I was like, that's cool. So that was a bit annoying because I had to like multicam that, you know, before I got started. But yeah, in general, just generic music, random little clips.
Yeah.
Even if you did one that was just like the confetti, you know, you don't even need to do the whole day. I just think like the speed is the thing.
Yeah.
If people see it the day after they got married and they're like, oh my God, and they want to show everyone, you know, like that is the prime emotional time, isn't it? I think just
and they get good shares and stuff by the couple.
Yeah.
Do you collaborate on the couple or do you just put it out there?
Yeah,
or...
we'll always collaborate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll often send them a little link to it just on Mediazilla so that they can like download it and share it to people that aren't on Instagram. You know, that happens where they want to send it to their nana or whatever, you know.
For you, they're a main marketing thing now.
They
right?
are, yeah. That's all. And I mean, because that takes all our time. A lot of the time, like it'll get to like December and I'll be like, oh, I need to put something new on the website. I haven't even looked at the website for a year, you know? Like we just like bosh things out on Instagram of what we've been up to. And then, you know, that's it really. We must get loads of our weddings through Instagram, I reckon.
I think we do, yeah.
Or like friends of couples.
Yeah.
Do you have any like insight into your actual stats specifically, or like as in, do you know for certain where most of your work's coming from, or
it's so
really?
It's so random, isn't it? I think a lot of our work comes from, we've got a few like photographer friends that are amazing who will recommend us. That is a big one.
Yeah.
And then the rest are probably Instagram, I'd say.
Yeah.
If they're random people that we've never met and there's no connection to, you know, we've not done any of their friends' weddings or whatever, 99% of the time they probably came from Instagram.
But then even then it's still like it's friends of friends of friends, you know, like that's they'll know someone who
the web is wide.
Yeah, but that, I mean that's Instagram, isn't it? It kind of shows it to
One part there, when we were talking about gear earlier, what is a massive feature of your work as well is on-camera audio, as in catching the ambient sounds and bits like that.
Did you get the ambient sound of the clock just changing in the background? It adds to the atmosphere. It's perfect timing. The ambient audio of are you using like a separate microphone on your camera to capture that, or is it the
no? So when we started, we put a Rode on the top, but
which we're using on top of this camera.
Literally not used it for years. But we found that people thought we were a videographer. Do you know what I mean? And we're more guarded around it. And I think I like that most people think we're just taking pictures. They're way more like chilled about it. And the on-camera audio for that, like ambient kind of underlying score, I think works perfectly. Yeah,
because we have it quite quiet in with a mix.
Yeah, but we do love to add it like anywhere we can.
Yeah. Plus, it's better on the newer cameras. It's still not good.
Yeah.
But like on like, what was it, the 5D Mark III, the on-camera audio was just like really
Awful.
hissy and shit. Like,
You kind of needed an extra mic on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it does. It makes you less stealth, doesn't it?
Yeah.
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 But I mean, there are some times where it's so like someone will start reading out a letter in the morning, and you just like, oh, this is, you know, because the on-camera sound is too bad to actually like have like voices like at the forefront, really.
And you want to be like, cut.
I know you're like, cut, stick a mic on them. Like,
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, there's so
can't
much
be
music
voice.
in the mornings, like, you know, isn't there? So yeah. even when they start reading something out, but there's like Britney Spears "Toxic" in the background, and you're like, blast from the past, like it, but ruin the sound. Like, yeah,
You got to be chilled.
yeah.
I'm so surprised because like it always seems so clear, the audio. I would have put good money on the fact that you had some kind of directional microphone. But yeah, that surprised me. Cool. So can we go into editing? So am I right in thinking, Laura, do you do all the editing?
Yeah.
Get out of it.
I do all
So
the editing.
this is your realm, right? That
This
we're
is
heading
me.
into now.
Yeah.
I do the multicams.
You do multicams, yeah. When I'm busy, you'll do multicams.
I've done like the last 50 multicams.
'Cause I'm
like,
so
were
busy.
you ever? Yeah. When have you got some time to do it? I
busy.
need to go out and play table tennis. Like, come on.
Is it because Laurie got so frustrated with him moving his cameras that you've made him do the multicams as punishment?
I cannot have him sitting around all week just living his best life if I am like, edit. He needs jobs, you know?
Yeah, because like, our good friends like Liam and B, like, B does all the editing, and Liam is just like living his
Riding
best
his
life.
bike.
He
Yeah.
keeps telling us that I've just been working on the website again this morning. And it's just like, how do you have time to work on other things? Like, it's wedding season.
I'm not having that. I need to give him jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your workflow for the so you deliver a longer film, like a 10-minute film, and then you break that down to do you start with the longer film? Is that how you start off with, or
Yeah. So I will go through and just B-roll the wedding, and then I will make it's actually normally about 20 minutes. So we tell people they're 15 minutes, but they're normally about 20, I'd say.
I tell them they're 20 minutes.
But yeah, so basically I'm just, I'm keeping it chronological, and I'm just cutting that B-roll, fitting it to music, putting the ceremony where the ceremony happened. Readings I'll put over, usually the getting ready, if they're, if they fit with that. And then speeches I will put under from mingling onwards. So they'll like kind of underline. So there's still, it's not cutting to the full speeches or anything, because I'd still want them to watch it and it not be really boring, So we try and keep it fun, but we keep it like chronological basically.
Yeah.
And then, so then I've got the whole wedding basically done. And then the highlights doesn't take me too long. The feature is the one that takes me forever. And then the highlights, I am literally going and finding a music that I think will work with the bit. I'll choose like a standout bit of audio that I'm like, this is them, this is gonna like sum up this day. And I will choose the music that I think will fit with that vibe. And that's it, cobble together the puzzle,
So for your longer films, are you laying the music down first and then, or like A-roll is in the audio speeches bit is going on and then B-roll, or is it just a bit of a bit of a mishmash? Or...
I mean, it's probably more freeform than that, Roo. That sounded really organised, what you just said then. But I mean, like roughly it is.
Yeah.
I'll drag in the first song, and then I will... normally I will, like black bar it and then put all the B-roll on the top. So that, there's like a blank bar and then that, and then I can move things around and make gaps where I think that'll fit. And music-wise, I tend to use for the features, I'll go through like a period of like 6 months or even longer where I'll use the same music for features. So I know that's going to work for a morning vibe. That's going to be nice under a ceremony. So I'm not having to go and choose music like every single time. Unless it doesn't work at all, with the vibe of that wedding. And then I will go in and like get new tracks.
You're quite like B-roll led, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like the
100%.
speech ceremony and, everything else is just like decoration on top.
Yeah, filler. It really is just like 100% B-roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so for your ceremony section, when it comes to that,
Yeah.
does the film on the longer film, do you see kind of parts of is there B-roll from other parts of the day going over the top of the ceremony section as well, or is it just flat out with ceremony?
Sometimes. Only if there's an
Usually
obvious
not.
kind of like
connection.
cut between we've got out a load of the ceremony and people in different positions and all that. We might overlay a bit just to hide it.
True, but generally not. So it'll start with, she'll walk down. I usually cut out like bridesmaids walking down the aisle, unless they look awesome. I mean, they'll have it in the full ceremony, so I'm really just looking for the bits that I think are like interesting. So it's really it'll go from the B-roll. He'll be at the church, blah blah blah. He looks nervous, and then it'll cut to she walks down the aisle. And then it'll cut to, there'll be no readings in this bit either, because I don't want it to be like a long chunk. It'll cut
just
to
like the vows,
when they
it?
speak, So I don't have loads of whatever the celebrant's saying. I just want to cut to like vows, rings, kiss, leave. Just the main bits really. And hopefully with the multicams I can just chop it so that I don't have to have any like B-roll to join them together. It can just flow. That's the ideal, really.
Yeah.
That's not. I'm liking this because this is exactly how I do it as well.
Okay,
sometimes
cool.
I'm thinking, this is good.
Yeah.
I'm the same as well in terms of I have a bank of songs for the longer films, like 3 sections: prep, ceremony, mingling, party, and have like about 5 different songs that fit those different bits that I can mix and match from. And I think it's quite vital to be able to get the films out fast enough, right? Isn't it?
Yeah,
like
exactly. And I think I could spend like my entire life just listening to, just trawling through. And it's so specific what you need, isn't it? And there to be like, the right kind of vibe and the dips so that you can have the audio where you want it. And, it's just like, it's hard to get the right track. So I think, having a bank of like usable songs is a good plan, and it definitely saves time. If I had to do that every time, that would kill me. Because I'd choose different tracks for every highlight, so I want them all to be different. And I mean, some days I just have to quit, and I'm just like, no, I cannot.
Yeah, you do.
Anything.
You like go and B-roll the next wedding because you're like, I can't find any music.
I'm not in the zone, and it's not happening, and it's just not the one. So have you
ever got deep into an edit and then had to redo realise the song's wrong and had to go redo?
Not really. No. I'm so sort of anal about it at the beginning. They're normally good. By the time I'm doing it, I'm like, I'm sure about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're on it, you're nailed down. You got it. And your so the audio in your films, do you have set levels that you're setting things to that is going to kind of work based on how you record things, or is it just feeling? Do you set the songs to like -5 decibels or something like that from the start, or is there a strategy that you go through?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the bit that Laura lets me do of the editing.
Oh, okay.
So I finish the films and then I'll send them to Pete, and he will hopefully watch them, and then he sort of tweaks the sounds and like adds in audio, ambient audio and stuff, don't you? At the end.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Oh, okay. So grading's happening before the audio tweaks. Your audio is the last thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So I edit it and I'll grade it. Yeah.
We'll come to you, Pete.
Okay.
We'll come to you eventually. So if we go to your grading process.
Colour,
Well, and this will go into your shooting as well, because your films are warm, aren't they? Which completely, as you say, matches how you see the world as well, and how you want things warm and happy. Are you shooting on the day with white balance strategically to be warmer, or is it?
No. Yeah, we shoot really quite neutral, don't we?
Yeah.
And then it's all in the lot, isn't it? Really, because we want the skin to look. I think if we shoot too warm, it just ends up kind of muddy.
Yeah.
We found.
Yeah, for how we like to shoot, we want just as close to correct white balance as we can.
Yeah.
I try not to be too cool.
Too wacky either way.
Yeah, not too warm and not too, because our grading does kind of shift the blues around a bit. So if I've gone a little bit too blue on white shirts, then
they'll all be blue. Yeah.
Something we have to go and tweak when we grade it later.
Yeah.
But I'm on 6,000
Kelvin,
like, you know, outside. Obviously, later in the day can go up, like crazy things for sunset, can't it?
Like 9,000,
Yeah, but yeah, like 32,000, 33,000 for like indoor warm speeches. And then when we stick video lights up on the for the dance floor, we kind of have it like right in the middle, so like 5,000, 4,800 for dancing. But sometimes warmer. Just whatever, do it by eye. And then like if it's speech and ceremony, I'll like copy that same white balance to all the cameras, hopefully.
It's quite annoying when we're working together. We're always like, right, what you on? You know, like we're trying to match it up because like, my eye, your eye, we might choose totally different. And like, And
Lauren knows I'll change it during the speeches as well. Like, you know, things change. So like I need to stop filming and change the white balance.
Were you manual white balance when you did photo? When you do photo?
No, God no.
It's in RAW. Who gives a shit about white balance?
That was one of the really hard things to learn. Like the two things were keep the fuck still and don't forget to change your white balance. Because all our films at the beginning were like we were having to fix everything, weren't we?
Yeah.
They were all like blue or orange.
We were trying, but it's...
You forget though at the beginning.
But also, I think we had a few like outdoor ceremonies, and it's really hard to see the screen when you're outside.
True.
For colour.
Yeah.
So that was before we had the electronic viewfinder cameras. We fucked up white balance a fair few times, just because we knew it wasn't too bright or too dark. But like,
Who knows?
There's quite a wide range where a screen can look all right in bright sunlight, where you're like, I think it's the right colours, but it wasn't.
I think the more you do it, the more you get used to just knowing what Kelvin to be on in any situation. Though you can just look at a room and be like 3,200. You know, you don't need to look through the camera.
That's a great moment, isn't it? I remember when that happened to me, and I was like, wow. I feel like I've made it now.
Oh my God.
telling my wife what Calvin the rooms are that I'm in. Well,
and she's
right
like,
now,
Yeah.
Such a strange superpower to have.
Yeah.
You've made me think, actually, was there much... So obviously, like you were saying, white balance things. How did you have to change your approach much from the photo side of things to video? Were you able to translate what were you doing previously into video?
You mean in terms of grading or white?
In terms of shooting itself, like just the way you approach how you shoot the day.
No, it's the same. Yeah,
so similar. And I think we were just filming. I think at the beginning we had to learn to keep still and to shoot for longer than we thought, because I think we were used to just like nailed it, you know, like moving really quickly between things, but just giving it a bit more time. I think that was a big thing with us, wasn't it? But other than that, it was like looking for the same moments we always were, but just, you know, just a moving picture here and there, keeping it simple.
Yeah.
Were you on a 50mm for your photo as well?
No,
so no, that is
weirdly,
different,
I think if we were doing pictures, we'd be more likely to be on like 35 and be a little bit closer to people.
But I think that goes with the like having to shoot for longer. Like you take a picture with a 35, you can just like get in there, shoot it, maybe shoot a couple more, fuck
and then
off.
you're gone before they noticed you were there.
Yeah. Whereas with video, you are a bit like manually focused, get it in.
It's creepier.
So you're there for like 3-4 times as long, aren't you?
Yeah.
So you need a bit more distance. I feel like they notice us at the same rate, you know. They put like 50 and we can just about get the shot before they're like.
And a photographer's in that area anyway as well, aren't they, from the video point of view? So if you got like a tighter lens, you can shoot around them a bit easier.
Exactly. We just found 50s just like ideal for us. Just like I'm happy at that distance from people. And it looks normal. You know, it looks like it looks. And that's what I want, really.
Yeah, it cuts together quite nice and easily. Because, like 35, there's not too much, like, distortion.
We tend not to
But there is
shoot.
a bit, because, like, you know, like, people close to the camera seem bigger. People further away, smaller. You know, like, whereas with a 50... because you're that little bit further back, like the size difference between heads and the foreground background is not as extreme. So like things cut together in the edit a bit more naturally. It's not like
I think we try not to shoot too too close or too far away, because then it's jarring, isn't it? It's like you were saying with the, you know, when it suddenly jumps to the ceremony and it's like really wide, it takes you out of it. Whereas if it's all the same focal length-ish, it just, like, you can put stuff anywhere and it just works together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a feature of your films, there's a lot, very shallow depth of field, isn't there?
Yeah.
And I think that's probably enhanced visually because you quite often you're shooting through things. Is that a fair thing to say?
Love shooting through things. Love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're never looking for just like, you don't just want the flat frame or something. It seems like you're always looking to put something in the frame just to give a bit of kind of foreground interest, just to focus to. Yeah.
If it's possible, I mean, we totally will shoot things flat. I mean, if someone's just like crying or, you know, an amazing laughing, it's not like we want every shot to be like perfect, and we will choose a moment over whether it is like technically perfect or like composed interestingly. But the ideal would be to have someone crying through candles or a tree, you know, like you want all the elements. You want it to be like so pretty but also like the perfect moment,
just a bit interesting.
That's like the quest though, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
And if you can
and
make
it's hard,
it,
but it's hard to shoot through things when you're filming, because like if you're too close to them as well, because any slight movement on your part like really like wobbles the foreground a lot, just like in front of them in a weird kind of parallaxy way, doesn't it? So yeah.
But I just think, like, anything you can make more interesting, whether it's like a silhouette or shooting through something or it being framed in an interesting way, I just, like that. Maybe it's a photography thing as well, you know, that you just want it to look visually appealing.
And your styles, I mean, obviously, are you always both been on board with how you like to shoot things, or has it been one of you kind of leaning more one way and you follow each other, or is it?
I think we've just like grown together. So they're just linked together, you know, like we've always shot weddings together. And this is why, really, since we were like 20, you know, like we were kids, we like grew up doing it and always together. So it's less like I do this and we don't really have our own style. They're so like entwined.
Slightly, like I am slightly more on the documentary side.
Yeah.
And Laura, you're more into like the kind of like the details. You probably, if you were starting now, would be into flat lays and stuff, I would say.
What if I was doing pictures?
Yeah,
maybe.
You like pretty.
Yeah.
And she's, you know, she's way more kind of like, well, way less old-fashioned, I guess, stuck in her ways than me. She likes new things, new trends.
Yeah, I'm happy with a new trend.
Yeah. And you've always liked the like portraits, like still serene portraits more than me, you know, like I'm a bit more like frantic, like I just want people laughing in my face, like, you know, and I'm like a giddy kid just like shouting nonsense at brides and grooms to make them giggle. Whereas you would have them like cupping each other's, you know, heads and you know all that.
I don't know, I think I'm just calmer than you.
Maybe.
Yeah, you're more manic.
Like,
yeah.
It works. Whatever it is, it definitely works, doesn't it? It's kind of trying, because like when I watch your films, and I know you're saying majority of them are like shot just one shooter these days, but and obviously there's going to be certainly there must be some on your website that are two of you, right? I assume. But you can't, other than it being amazing coverage, you can't tell there's two shooters. You can tell it's like you're very locked in with your style and how you want to shoot.
Yeah. Well, this is it. I think because Pete's so manic, he's the perfect person to shoot a wedding on his own. Like there was one wedding where he was shooting the ceremony and he shot it from 3 angles and a drone, her walking down the aisle. And I'm just like, Pete, just calm down. You know? Like, it's too much.
That wasn't a personal choice for me.
Whereas if I was shooting that on my own, there's no way I could have done all those things. You know, like, it's just a mad amount of things to do.
That was demanded by the bride.
Oh, I know.
It was like the only shot she wanted from the ceremony, it turned out. And there was a planner, and they were, like, really adamant about this and that. I don't know how you're going to do it, but she's like, that's the reason she booked this venue. And I'm just like,
okay,
yeah, the drone shot of her walking down the aisle. And it's like,
cool.
I've never done this before. Like, what shot has she seen? Why aren't they here?
Why has no one told me about this?
No one told me about this before the wedding.
Why am I on my own doing 5 people's job?
And like, and then it wasn't slick either. Like, yeah, I had like the 3 angles going, But like I'd got the groom walking up with a drone. I'd got the bridesmaids walking up with a drone. But like, it was one of those weddings where it'd been 20 minutes from like when I got the drone up, and the drone wasn't on full battery at the start. I got it up because I was just like, I need this drone up there for three minutes max worth of shot. Everyone's going to walk down the aisle. I'll land it. I'll move on with their life. Yeah. No, drone starts landing itself because it's run out of battery just as the bride's about to walk down the aisle. So I have to leg it, swap batteries, get the drone back up in the air. I've held her behind a bush. Drone's back up in the air. I'm trying to match the shot because like the shot had composed. I was well happy with it. Like the building was like perfect. It was the right height. It was all perfect. I'm trying to recreate this shot in seconds. It's not quite the same, but it's fine.
One day Pete will just have a heart attack.
Bride walks up the aisle. I get that. A film of coming up the aisle as well, which I'm feeling bad about because I'm like, I did like the proper drone course where like they shit you up, like you will kill someone with this drone, like. Anyway, filmer coming up, get the camera on a tripod, like set it up, land the drone. Think I've landed the drone. Turn the controller off. And like shoot the rest of the ceremony. And then I go to like get the drone after the ceremony. I walk over to it and like I can hear something like, and it's just like the drone is like this far off the ground, like like just at the right angle to kill any child that walks towards it. And the controller's turned off as well, so I'm just like trying to get this thing set back up. And I just it was
smooth.
Nothing smooth about this.
I think that sums us up, though.
Wedding nightmare.
You make something and it's joyful and it's like calm and like the shots of what he's describing. Like I want to show you that bit of the film because it just looks like so breezy. She's walking down the aisle. It's so calm, and it's just like this mania like behind it. It's just funny, isn't it?
Could you not hear the drone during the ceremony?
No, it was really far back. Because it was a big house, obviously.
Yeah.
That they wanted the drone shot. It was a wide one of her walking up, and then a house in the background.
Do you guys add kind of fake depth of field? Do you like kind of blur some areas out as well, or is it all in camera?
All in camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, because quite often, certainly through your ceremony, I sometimes feel like there's almost like a tilt shift effect going on, but it must be just because the layers of depth, I guess. And
yeah.
No, I think sometimes like the ceremonies can look like that. I think like 85 or even 50 from the back. If it's low down, you get like the edge is certainly like the bottom because it's the closest and most distorted bit, isn't it? Like do have that look sometimes a little bit like swirly.
Yeah.
So that must be it must be like the lens. What lens is that? The 50 that you've got? Is it the old school 50?
It's the
1.2.
EF 50 1.2, the L1.
Yeah.
And then
the 85
is the same. Like
Yeah.
The Mark II version, isn't it? Yeah.
Old school.
Yeah.
No one.
Lenses with character and soul, unlike the clinical
scuffs.
Sony ones.
Yeah.
Banged about a bit.
Yeah.
And are you adding like? It feels like there's like a film grain effect to the films as well. Is that
we do add a little bit, but I think I don't know if you can even see it by the time it's been compressed.
Yeah. There's a texture there, I feel, when I watch them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I do stalk your work quite often. Writing notes.
Yeah.
Cool. And how long does... I know it's a piece of string kind of thing with an edit, isn't it, in very what's going on with life. But if you were able to just sit down
and do
in the week and get your...
I mean, it would take me a week, I think, if I actually just sat down and got on with one wedding. But I do, like Pete said, if I get stuck at any point, I work all the time. I use all my time I have available to get stuff done. And if I'm not feeling it and I'm not in the zone of something, I'll move on and start doing something else, so that I'm at least chipping away at the pile, So there's a lot of days where, if I'm not in the mood to make a highlight and I'm like, I don't know, I'm not feeling the creative vibes today, I'll just start B-rolling something else, just chipping something else off that to-do list. Because you need to be feeling it, don't you? rather than like making myself sit down and get on with it. But yeah, I mean, it takes me about a day, I'd say, to like B-roll. I spend a lot of time like making sure the B-roll's good, because I'm like quite brutal about that. I don't want anything in that B-roll that might end up in the film and is shit, you know?
What, so going through and getting your in and out points, like kind of culling?
Yeah,
effectively
culling and making sure that every single bit I'm left with is something that I would be happy to put in a highlight. You know, I want it all to be like the good level. You know, I don't want filler in there. So
are you playing that back in real time to watch it, or do you skim through? Or
no, I'll skim through and I'll literally be watching a film or listening to a podcast or whatever, and just be well, you know, not listening to it. I can't. I think if I did that, it would take me forever. Yeah, you know, if I was actually watching it and listening. So no, I'll skim through.
Do, you know?
Yeah,
surprisingly,
mad.
so like I'm the same as you. I skim. I have to because my mind couldn't focus that long.
You watch things when you get to like doing the highlights, because you like to cut to the music, and
that's a big thing for me. Like cutting to the beat of the music, and something that drives me mad. You know, if it doesn't fit to the music, like I find it so jarring. So I do spend a lot of time with that. So later down the line, I am watching the whole thing, but I think just for the initial culling, I can like zone out, like I say, watch a film, listen to something. You know, otherwise I wouldn't be able to sit down that long. You know.
Yeah.
Oh. And is that what you do first? Is the culling aspect, the B-roll aspect? Is that the very first step, even before multicams?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then multicams, when does that come into play? Is that next?
Similar, that's next normally. So B-roll, then multicams, then feature, then highlights.
Are you using Final Cut?
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you actually use the multicam feature?
I use the multicam, but not for the syncing, because it's shit. It's shit at syncing things. Yeah, it is for us.
I've never had it not sync.
Oh, so maybe we could save so much time.
I've given it a good go. Like, I must have tried it like 15, 20 times, like different weddings. And like, there's always one track that is just like, nah, way out. So, hate it.
Oh, wow.
No, we use...
And are you just doing like long takes, like, or are you doing B-rolling? Because the B-rolling
long takes. Long takes. I mean, longish, you know, because I do like to move the camera and adjust things. So,
that's probably where it's going wrong then, right? Isn't it? When it's
that's the only reason any angle changes. Just like, oh, beat moved, we got to change it.
Yeah. But yeah, we use Syncala now.
Syncala,
Yeah. Just like export the XML from Final Cut, and then that always works for us.
It's just one extra step, but it makes it simple. Like in the end,
because it's just so annoying. Like just having to do it manually. Like I will do it if I have to, but
yeah.
But how's that work then? So then everything all in one timeline all day, and you just have to take away the bits you don't want and cut away, and because like when you do a multicam, it creates one.
Yeah,
video,
it does
and
that.
You go through, you press the button.
It does that in Syncala. Yeah, it creates a multicam clip. Wow. So Then it's all in that one file, and you can just
super simple. Yeah.
Switch.
So it's the same process, isn't it? It's literally the same process as doing it in Final Cut, but you've got a more sturdy syncing setup for it.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting. Cool. And then we're on about, so when you come to, is the grading, Laura, are you doing the grading?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although you'll grade the multicams, won't you?
Yeah. I used to do all the grading, and then Laura was just like, no, I'm doing that as well now. So it's just like, cool. Yeah. I'm not going to stand in your way in the way of your dreams.
But then you're doing the audio, are you, Pete? The final audio adjustments?
Yeah.
And is there any like a set routine that you go through? Like, do you have certain levels that you're always looking for?
Kind of. Like, I normally want it to kind of peak around like -3. Just so there's a bit of room. Mm-hmm. What do I do? So when people are speaking, I have like the music. Depending on the music, like like -16, 17. And people talking, I'll have them about -3 as well, -4. And I've been through and I've like done like a compressor and stuff on people's audio, so they should all be quite like level.
Yeah.
Is it the built-in compressor in Final Cut?
Yeah, so we've come up with we used to go through all those YouTube videos, like all the time, like best things to do for audio, and then like you're really into it for like, you know, like a couple of days, come up with a few presets, and now it's just like I've just forgotten what all of these different things would for. I've got my presets saved, but I can't remember exactly why.
It, but I don't know why.
And is it the TX650s that you're using for your audio sources, or are you using?
Yeah, so we use those, but we all, if we can plug into like the system, I'll do that because it does sound better.
Yeah.
So if we can now talk a bit about TWIA. I still call it TWIA.
I like TWIA.
Yeah. It was really weird because for years it was TWIA, and I just never thought of it as anything else. And then people started saying TWIA, and it was like, what? Yeah. Is it supposed to be TWIA?
It's Damien said it at the awards itself, and I was like, oh, I've been saying it wrong this entire time. Yeah.
It's not cool. So I don't like it. I don't like TWIA.
You're going to go with TWIA?
Yeah, TWIA is much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can take that soundbite of you saying you don't like it there.
That'll go
fucking hate TWIA. Damien can sue one.
So TWIA, you guys have been incredibly successful in TWIA, haven't you? Right from the start, from your first year, you got your regionals. You were so successful that you had to become judges just to give other people a chance of winning it, which was the greatest thing that ever happened to us mere mortals, that you guys became judges. When that happened, I was like, oh, thank goodness, there's an opportunity for people. But I'd really like to talk about how it is being a judge and how that process works, because there's a lot of myths. Even though TWIA are very transparent with how it works, the judging, people still seem to have these conspiracies about it. But from your point of view as judges, how does it work? So in October, I guess is when it starts, is it, in terms of the judging?
Yeah,
and what would
you
be
do the initial judging. So we get like a link to a judging area, and we can log in. We each do it separately, so we're separate judges, which is amazing, because I think when they first asked us, like we were saying, like, oh, we're not, what if we don't agree? You know, like that's going to be a nightmare. So brilliant, we just do it separately. But yeah, we get to see online basically every single region. You go in, you see everyone that's entered, and you know the links to their profile. We can see everything that people have said, you know, all the voter comments, and then we can see the videos that they've submitted, and we just need to go through basically and do a shortlist. So we do a bronze, a silver, and a gold. So each judge is picking their top three and kind of putting them in order, and we get to see not only the voter comments but the overall marks as well. So everybody gets scored. I think everybody knows this, you know, like there's kind of this first round, isn't there, that where if you meet a certain criteria, then you become kind of shortlisted. So we get to see those marks, which is great. And then another great thing is the wild card thing, because I think that's one of the things I think that people assume, you know, like they'll say, well, you know, we've not told people to give us 10 out of 10 for everything. And if everybody's getting 10 out of 10 marks from their couples, and let's face it, if someone's honest, they're not going to give you 10 out of 10 for everything, are they, these couples? No. And I'm sure that, you know, like, I can totally understand why the odd person would be like, I'm going to give them 8 for, you know, how, you know, responsive they are, or whatever, you know, whatever the category is. Anyone could
I would get a 2 for that.
I mean, like, come on, like, you know, we're not all 10 out of 10 at every single thing, are we?
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things that makes me happy that there's a wild card, because I think if everybody in your region gets 10 out of 10 for everything, and then someone gives you an 8, you know, and it means that your scores come down and you're not going to meet the criteria.
Well, we see like the average score as well, so it says like what the threshold was. Yeah. And it's like 2 or 3 decimal places. It's really precise.
It's so
and
tight.
Some people are like just so fractionally below that, and it's it's annoying. But we only get one wild card each per region.
Yeah, but it means that we can put someone back in who clearly should be in that.
And we like what we see of them at that point is like their kind of like full profile. So like what we would see when we're judging everyone else. So you see like their films, you see all the stuff that they've written, you see the voter comments.
So I think that's something to bear in mind. I think you know that the judges are seeing that, like, you know, like, don't leave things blank. If we open it up and you can see that they've not filled in the, you know, like, you get asked a lot of questions to answer about your business, and if you've not bothered to fill it out, you know, it doesn't look great. I think fill it out, like, use everything that they give you, you know, that you could do. I think use it. A lot of people lately have been doing, like, a little video of themselves as one of their videos, which I think is a cute idea. But, I mean, it's tricky. We never did that.
I think for photographers, like, it's kind of key, because you get to upload videos as well, don't you, as photographers? And like, you know, they put, like, you know, a slideshow or, like, you know, little piece to camera kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, that is really nice, because, like, we'll watch those, because, like, the pictures on the judging profile are quite small, so it's nice to be able to full screen something.
So you guys judge photo as well? You guys
did,
for the photos?
Yeah. But yeah, you'd want to use your three spots for, like, actual films, I guess.
I would say, but, like, I think if you got, like, two bangers and you want to do, like, a little, like, extra piece to camera,
yeah.
Because you're looking for, like, obviously, like, when you watch the first video, you basically know, like, if they're good or not.
I love this?
You've got you probably even know if they're going to get bronze, silver, or gold. Like, you need to compare to others, but you know if they're in your shortlist.
Yeah.
And then, like, you watch another film, and if it's as good or near enough, like, you know they're consistent. So, like, 3 films is possibly overkill, unless they're all really different and all unique and special,
which is great,
you know, in their own right. But yeah, like, maybe using that third slot for a little thing, but keep it short if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's been some that are, like, I've watched, I don't know if it was for video or pictures, you know, I remember watching some, and it, like, starts off great, like, someone, like, talking to camera, and then, you know, it gets meandering, as this podcast has become, you know, and you just, like, you know, like, edit it, cut it down, like, you know, you talking to actual people.
Yeah.
You know, like, just make it short, snappy, and to the point, and, you know, like, redo bits if you kind of, like, you know, fucked up in a not funny way. Yeah.
But the judging it's amazing, but it's so difficult. You know, it takes days, you know, to really I think I wish I was judging, like, flowers or something sometimes, you know. I'm like, this is a lot of films to, like, and you just get, like, completely bombarded by us. Too many wedding films to watch in a row, you know. It's a lot.
And at, like, some regions as well, you look at them and you're like, most of you would have got through, you know, would have been, like,
so true.
You know, like, the top people in other regions.
Yeah, it really does make a difference where you are, doesn't it?
Yeah. And, like, that's not, you know, like, to say, like, like, there's more talent in some regions. It's like, who enters, isn't it? You know, like, we all know not everyone enters.
Yeah.
Because we take it so personally.
Yeah. Some people are just scared to enter, aren't they? They're like,
they're scared to enter, and you're like, what if they lose? And what if they lose to someone that they think they're better than? Because, like, we all have a bit of ego. Like, even if we didn't start out this way, it grows over time. You're like, I think I'm all right at this. And if you lose to someone, you're like, fucking hell. Like,
I think it's hard to put yourself out there to be judged, isn't it? It's terrifying.
Really hard.
What are you guys? What are you looking for in the films? What are the kind of key things that you want to see in work that's going to get them in that gold, bronze, silver?
I would say area. Like, it's got to be good and, like, not
good.
Shit.
I love it. It's got to be not shit.
Yeah. Like, if you watch a film and objectively think, like, that's shit, don't put it in, because...
Such good advice. That is what you pay the big
There we go.
Watch the film before you send it, so you submit it for an award.
Watch the film before you submit it, because actually a lot of people do have, like, little mistakes in there.
Yeah, like, there are a few, like, you know, like, the screen goes blank for a moment, like, you know, like, this, like, happens, and not in, like, an artistic way, just like, you've missed a, like, you know, a gap where the clips weren't right together.
I think really what we're looking for is it's what anyone would be looking for. You know, it's something that, like, grabs your attention, and maybe something that's different as well, because, I mean, like, us, the other judges, we're watching a lot of films, like, over a few days, so you want to stand out.
I don't care about it being different, so...
But you want it to grab your attention and either hit you in the heart,
quality, like...
Yeah, maintain the quality, And like,
be coherent as well. There's quite a few where there's two styles going on, and like you can really buy into the first one, and then it turns into a different film later on. You know, like that's like some of like the kind of like more frenetic edits, which are, you know, like becoming quite popular,
like party kind of vibe.
Yeah, like party kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit of like Super 8 kind of like influence thing, and like the first 30 seconds is like all energy, all in, and
Cool
you're like,
intro.
this is cool. Like, it's not my style, but I'm into it.
And then it's like it stops.
And then it stops, and quite often it will stop. It'll like fade out, and then like
it's like a drone shot of the venue. Yeah,
and it starts into a very
like
not generic,
energy.
like not bad, but just like I was sold on one thing, and then another thing happened.
Yeah.
That is not.
Yeah.
The old bait and switch.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's so funny because it's a totally personal thing, and there are
Yeah.
like, we won't always vote for the same people, or we won't put them in the same bronze, silver, gold like often, and
Yeah.
we'll like, you know, sort of have chats about it and just like, yeah, no,
Do
I like
you go
this
off
one
separately
more.
to do your
Totally
judging then?
separate.
Do you like,
yeah. And then we're
Yeah.
like, who did you give gold? You know, like, and it's
And you're like, them? That was shit.
No, but like that's the thing, though, isn't it? That's the takeaway, that all the judges, us included, it's just our opinion, isn't it? And that's what
Yeah.
I think when you do put yourself into these awards, you've got to think, well, it's a small group of people, you know, and it's not the be all and end all, really, you know.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I think you've got to love your films that you put in. Like, you love them, you stand by them. Like, make sure they're your favourite. Don't put one in because you think the bride's really pretty or the venue was lovely. You know, like, it's got to be, like, it's got to have some heart to it, because that comes across, like, you know. And I'd say get people to watch it, like friends, family, or, like, your friends in the industry or whatever the 3 films are that you choose, get people to watch them so that you know, yeah, okay, these are my top ones.
Yeah.
And I'd say make your one that's the first one, make it your favourite.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because that is the first one, like Pete said, as soon as you watch one film, you know, oh, that's who this guy is, you know?
Yeah.
It
Unless
gives
it's
you a
later on in
sense
the
of
day,
it.
and sometimes I do mix it up, and I look at the thumbnails, and I'm like, I want to watch this one.
Yeah.
Do you ever come across somewhere the filmmakers, perhaps their story is the strongest element to it, and maybe their visuals aren't quite as good, but would you be won over by story more than visuals, or is it a kind of needs to be a?
I'm willing to be won over by something, but
Yeah.
I think it's you know, like everything, you do form an opinion within the first few seconds.
Yeah, maybe. You know what?
I will watch it.
Any
but-
film that makes me feel anything, as I am cold and dead inside.
Yeah.
No, but like anything that makes me feel like, oh, I could cry at that. Like, that is an instant, like, shortlist for me.
100%, yeah. So it's not like won over. It doesn't mean like it's pretty. You know, it just means like, am I like invested? Do I want to watch more?
Yeah, I'd say.
Or hear more?
There's a lot of films that are really pretty and so boring. So I would never shortlist that. So I think that's the answer to your question, isn't it? If something hit me in the heart but wasn't as visually pretty, then that would win for me over something that was just like compositionally interesting.
But at the same
like,
time,
cool.
some things are just really pretty. Like, I know there was like there's the whole thing about like
pretty,
the whole thing like starting with a drone shot and all this stuff.
I love a drone shot.
I love a drone shot.
Yeah.
And like if it's beautiful, and there was one film, I think, I don't know what year it was that we were judging, and there was like
I
one
know
film.
which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like 25% drone shots.
Yeah.
But
It was
they're
so
all
pretty,
different,
though.
and
Yeah.
they're all beautiful. And I'm just like, you know what? Like this. I mean, I'm into this. Like these
get
shots
it.
are so pretty that like I know why they're here. Like those
Was
shots
it in
have earned
Italy
their
by
place.
chance?
I think
was
it
the
might
film
have
based in
been.
Italy?
Yeah,
I
I think
don't
it
know.
might have been. It was definitely a destination
I think I know
wedding.
exactly who that filmmaker is as well.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I know. I wouldn't say, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There are some drone shots that you see, and it's like a drone shot of a church, and it's mostly car park or the venue, and it's
You're
just
just like,
like
it's pointless.
film it from the other
Yeah.
side, hide the car park behind the venue, get lower down. Like if you have like, and that's what I'm saying. Like make people watch it because
Make people watch it.
There are like, really obvious, I would say an obvious mistake like that. But if you're filming mostly cars in a car park, it's probably not going to be, like a film that will win you an award.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we all have different things, don't we? That like either like pet hates, I suppose. Like mine would be stuff that doesn't fit to music, that just seems like randomly plonked in. Especially if it's like dancing and it's changing to a beat, but it's not the beat, like I'm just like, And like you were saying, it's really pretty. It's all shot at like 1.6, 1.8, and then suddenly it's like F4. Like, no.
F4's the widest aperture we can conceive of.
I agree.
Like the most narrow, sorry.
Does it
like F4, not F16, no, F4, like, oh.
My pet hates are exposure changes during shots. And also random shots of makeup, as in like the makeup artist's
just
makeup
like
that they've got laid out on the table.
Yeah.
You're thinking, they've brought that from their house, it's got nothing to do with the wedding. Why are you filming that?
Yeah. So I think mine are badly composed speeches, I think is my...
Really?
That upsets me the most.
Just in your core.
But what you were saying, like, the kind of like the wide, like narrow aperture shot, but when all day has been pretty and like, they've done the pretty like portraits of the bride having her makeup done, and then, there's just lots of like effort got into composing and like shooting the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And then the speeches is just like a 16mm lens at the back of the reception room while someone's doing a speech, and you're in your own shot, and I can see all your other 3 tripods. Like that's the thing, that I'm remembering a film when I say that.
Yeah.
That I've seen that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why? Like, this is in a highlights film as well. So it's just like,
it's the best
we didn't actually ever need the visual of this bit of the day if that was the shot you were cutting to. Like, you keep the audio. And like, maybe you had other cameras you were manning. I'm sure, like, there's a shot during the speeches that you could go to show that bit of the day was captured in a pretty manner. Like, don't show the worst shot that you took that day.
We
like,
all
never
shoot like horrible,
all make
angles.
mistakes.
Yeah,
like we all mess up. We're like, I was trying something. No, we'll never do that again. Like,
and don't put it in TWIA. That's the thing. Just
don't put it in TWIA.
Best.
Why have I seen that?
I know. Just make it the best. Just your favourite. Something with heart that's pretty. Just be confident about it, and something that really like sums you up.
Yeah.
And that you can really stand behind it. And I wouldn't spend ages filling out your profile. Like I was saying before, don't not fill it out because it looks like, I can't be asked. Here's my film. Do you like it? But like, you don't need to spend ages doing it. Keep it short and sweet.
Don't have a go at awards in your thing as well. I've seen that more than once.
That's a top tip. Like, these are bullshit. But
I'm the one that's reading it. Like, Damien's not reading it, who runs the awards that you're so offended by. Like, you're just having a go at me. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
All right.
So true.
Can that influence the where they're positioned as well, like the kind of like the feedback and that? Is there a big element of that you take into your judging process as well, or is it mainly the film?
Really comes into it when it's hard.
Yeah.
Like when you're choosing between people.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not like that it's useless, but it's like when you're right down to it,
but
and you're like, how do I choose between these two people? Who's the best?
Most regions, you watch through everything, and then I'll shortlist for myself, like, 6 or 7 people normally. And then I'm going back and I'm rewatching it. And then I'm reading the profile just to get an idea of, like, who they are and, like, what they're all about.
Yeah.
So it does come into it.
Yeah, you do read it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it's like an essay, feels like a bit of a job. Because if you have to read, like, 100 people's, I want it.
You're going to skim it.
I'm going to skim it, unless it's like, a paragraph. Or 2.
Yeah.
Sure, by paragraph I mean sentence or 2. 3 sentences maximum. I don't know.
No, but the films, it's about the films. The films are the most important bit, for sure.
Yeah.
From the fact that you're seeing a lot of films now with the judging process, are there any trends that you are seeing coming through? Anything that you particularly noticed in the world of the UK wedding film market?
I think a lot of films are quite similar, aren't they? Styles are really, I think a lot of people are watching a lot of other people's work, you know, and taking influence from it, definitely, because there are things that you think, well, yeah, that could be theirs, or it could be theirs, I don't know, you know?
Well, there's nothing really wrong with that, is
No,
there?
not
I think
at all, and it's
we've all
not
done
bad.
that, you know.
Even just like fonts, you know, like at the beginning, like you see a lot of the same like style beginnings and stuff. Yeah, and I think you do want to stand out, you know, that is important, isn't it? And I think maybe it's just me. I don't like to watch a lot of other people's work because that throws me off what I'm doing, you know, like I think sometimes it's good to just go back to what your thing is, you know, and focus on that. And then hopefully you can have something that is unique to you. What would you say the trends are? You hear a lot of the same music, but I mean, yeah, I get that. And a lot of tracks will come up and I'm like, I've totally used this. Good choice.
I think that the Super 8 and the fast cuts was
there's quite a few people doing that kind of like high energy kind of edit.
Yeah. I think there's going to be more trends this year.
Interesting.
Well, just because editorial kind of like is everything people see like with pictures now.
Yeah.
So I fully expect
film go that way. Maybe.
There's going to be a lot of gimbal shots of people walking backwards with a groomsman and stuff like that. Or like a lot of bride and grooms staring at the camera. I think there's, you know,
like
I feel
black and white, like classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see.
And people using Russell Kent Nichols' preset that gives you the motion blur vibe for video that you get for photos, that kind of thing going in there.
Oh, nice. Yeah, probably.
We'll see this year.
We shall see.
It's really cool, actually, because like I say, like I find it really distracting. It would put me off my game if I was watching what everyone's up to now. You know, while I'm editing a lot of films, that would throw me way off.
Yeah.
But I really, really love judging TWIA so that I can see what everyone, you know, has been up to.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It does. It gives you a good sense of the industry, doesn't it?
Totally.
Amazing. So if we can, so the Lawson Film School, should we talk about that briefly? That they'll talk about your
Lawson
your
Film
process and that.
School.
Yeah. So basically, you guys are training the next generation of wedding filmmakers. Well, and this generation basically. So what is the structure of the film school and how does it work?
I mean, it's a one-day thing that we've done twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we did 2 days both times, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a one-day thing, and it's very like informal gathering of people, and we tell them everything we do and why and what we feel passionate about and things we really, you know, like Pete goes on a bit of a rant, you know, about things that we hate. You know, because we are like opinionated about a lot of things, like, you know, and it's like, and we say that a lot at film school, like, you can do this stuff, but like, we hate it, and this is why, you know, like,
and you are wrong.
There's a lot of things, you know, like, it comes across as so passionate, but really it is like, you do you know?
Yeah.
But a lot of film school, I mean, it's just like really our approach, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just
kind
everything.
Of open book, everything we do.
Yeah.
And a lot of the day is talking about boring B-roll, isn't it? Because that's one of our major passions.
B-roll where people are just stood around doing fuck all.
That's
it's just
another
like, why is
thing.
that? Why is that in your film?
Another
Delete.
thing with TWIA, you know, that comes up, that a lot of people include things in their films that bring the level down, you know, and that are like unnecessary shots or shots that are, not as joyful or not the high point moment, you know, and then they'll intersperse them with amazing shots. And you think, well, just take that out, you know, you don't need it. So it's like being brutal about your B-roll, and kind of, you know, our like quite harsh approach to that, I think, is a big part of it. But yeah, it was just something we decided, like, oh, let's give it a go, you know, just talking to people about what we do, and we did it last year and we liked it. It was good, just like small groups of people. You know,
I said I'd never do it again.
Yeah, every time Pete's like, it was good. I don't think we should do it again, and we might never do it again. It's not a thing that we're trying to like build up this like, you know, we're gonna have this big thing. It's more like, you know, January, February, we've not got loads of work to do. Why don't we just go and, you know, hang out with some people and talk about it?
And I get traumatized every time. like a month before,
Yeah.
and for a while afterwards.
a lot of pressure.
I will be like that for Coda as well.
It's a lot of pressure.
In fact, yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
absolutely traumatized.
We will.
And then you have to style it out when
It's
you're
very
talking, don't you?
scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think, like I said before, like you feel like a bit of a charlatan, you know? Like,
Yeah.
do we know enough to be
Absolute
teaching
frauds.
people, you
Yeah.
know? So I think you always have a bit of that, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also like the thing with our knowledge, how we learn is a gradual thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like, so you don't realise how much you know until when you start
Totally.
spilling it out. You go, I know a lot.
Yeah, and it's just like word vomit, and you think, yeah, because we were just like, right, well, let's just talk about everything we do, and you get to this point where you're like, we don't have time, you know, like you could talk the whole day. It's like you have so many things to cover.
Yeah.
And
so
yeah,
many opinions.
you feel like you know nothing, and then at the same time, you could talk about it all day. Yeah.
So is there at the minute there's no plans for another Lawson Film School yet? But
No, not at the
maybe-
moment. Maybe we'll do one. Yeah, we might do one the beginning of next year. We'll see. We'll see how we feel. We'll see if Pete's on board.
if it's up
These
for it.
things just have a habit of happening without me being on board or
I
not.
do
And,
sort of.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, Pete, we're doing this.
I get into it eventually. Like, I don't like hate them. It's just like it's the nervousness I don't like. They're being like
The pressure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Got to
'Cause
step
it
out your
feels-
comfort zone, mate. That's where good things happen.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did
So-
it already. Don't make me do it again.
No,
Don't
maybe
let me
do
go
it
back.
again. Yeah.
So if we can talk briefly, like very, very briefly about Coda, because
Yeah.
like
So
we
like
don't need to
45
sell it,
minutes
it's
or less.
sold out.
Okay.
But it'd be nice just to give a little bit of a sprinkle. What can we expect from you guys at Coda? What will you be talking about?
I mean, hopefully we're going to get across really what our ethos and approach is. We want to inspire people really to find their thing that they're passionate about, because I think like we feel strongly about the way, like what, you know, the way we shoot and what we're trying to make. And I think that is why we've done it so long. You know, I think it's hard to stay in this industry for a long time without being super passionate about what you're doing. You know, and I
Yeah.
think it's like the rose tinted view of weddings, isn't it? Really, with us.
Yeah, like we're always looking for like like the really happy moments.
The
and,
best
like,
of.
making weddings that are just like normal standard weddings, like making them look like everyone was having like the best time ever.
Yeah.
Because we people like ask us quite often, they're like, I don't ask them, they're like, we don't get weddings like you get weddings. Like
Yeah.
people aren't doing that at
All
at
your
the weddings I
weddings
shoot.
are like joyful people, and it's like no, they're not laughing the whole time. You know, we've got to look for that. We've got to find it and make
yeah.
it. So
Like-
it's presenting people with something that's better than the day, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, like just seeking out those moments and finding the joy, but or just and if that's not you, like finding what
Yeah.
makes you actually want to do the job like for years, and not just get burned out because you're trying to be someone else, trying to produce work that you think like fellow photographers want.
Yeah.
Fellow photographers, photographers. We can't stop saying it. fellow videographers, want or are
Yeah,
looking
you got to find
for.
your thing, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll also be sitting down with you guys and doing a film breakdown as well, won't we? Going
I
into
can't wait to do
behind the wedding.
that. I think that's
Yeah.
going to be really good. We did that
That's-
a lot
that's
at
what I'm
Lawson
excited
Film School.
about,
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
I think just like going through an actual film and how we piece it all together, and maybe some of the stuff we don't include, I think will be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that stuff is might even possibly be more valuable, the stuff that's
Yeah.
not included, right? To know what you are taking out, especially as you
Yeah.
mentioned the things about TWIA and what people do leave in.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
wait.
Can I want to throw some kind of like last couple of questions. Honestly,
Okay.
I'm nearly out of your life until October. What have been like the biggest kind of like light bulb moments in your business where things have just clicked and you kind of and it's quite a broad question that I
Such a
guess.
big
But are there
question.
any particular moments that really kind of stand out for you where you knew you were on the right track, or you made decisions that you knew were the right ones, or maybe some progress somewhere?
I suppose the main one is like, should we make wedding films? That was a light bulb moment. And then I think from there, just having that confidence to go with our gut means that everything we've decided along the way has been like, yeah, good decision. When to put your price up, everything along that journey, I think has been, I think that's it. Just learning to like trust what we want to do, making things for us.
Yeah, because I think maybe we had the light bulb moments like earlier, didn't we? Like while we were doing photography, like knowing what we like, knowing the moments that we like to shoot, and we just kind of like just wholesale picked that up and took it to video.
The big light bulb moment was realising that if you capture the joy at a wedding of people that this couple like know and love, their most important people, that is absolute gold. You know, that will be the picture they post when their grand dies. That will be, you know, these are special, you know, so that was our big light bulb moment. And also just the fact that then appeals to so many people, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody, every normal person, you know, is like, oh, I'd love that of my wedding. So you end up appealing to millions of people. So I think that is the big one, isn't it? Stumbling upon that.
Yeah.
And then being handheld. That's the second one.
Handheld, yeah.
Just like, I can
transformative.
Yeah.
And with am I right in thinking that kind of your video side of the business ended up eclipsing the photo side? Is that right to say? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely.
Basically. I think we've only got, 5-6 picture weddings this year?
Every time they come up a picture wedding, it's like a total novelty, isn't it? It's like, oh my God, I can't remember how to use my camera anymore.
But like, we want to do picture weddings still, because like we said, it's like a, like a holiday.
Yeah.
So, not that it's easier or harder or whatever. I don't want to offend anyone.
It is easier.
How long did it take, like, for you to be charging more for your video side, your photo side? Was it quite a quick process getting to that point?
Like 2 years.
Not long.
Yeah.
And I think,
because we were being baller, we were just like, whatever, fuck it. We still have this photography business. We'll put the price up. If we don't get any more bookings, we can put it down. And we still, we were able to kind of juggle between the two.
I think you've got to be, though. Just put it up. You can always put it down, and there's no shame in that game. And I would do. If we had no bookings, I wouldn't feel bad about putting it down.
Our only thing is we've always had prices on the website, but like if the prices disappear, you know why.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'd be like 400 quid now.
And we are happy with how it went then in terms of going more towards the video side. Was that kind of strategic as well, or was it just natural?
It was just natural, really. It wasn't like a plan that we wanted to do more video.
No, it wasn't.
It just that really took off.
Was it basically the market dictated it for you almost?
Yeah, I guess so. But I think end product wise, I think video is better. I am really passionate about wedding films, and I think that maybe that's why.
Yeah.
A lot of love goes into them.
Yeah.
So that's all good. If
Your
they
head
all
was
end up
turned.
video. Yeah, exactly. But as soon as you start doing it, you're just like, yeah, this is good. I like this.
Yeah.
And it just, it suits us.
Yeah.
It's interesting as well, kind of, my experience was I very slightly left my foot off the gas in terms of marketing for my photo side, and what a dramatic drop that made from there. And it was almost a subconscious not putting much effort into the marketing.
Same.
But it really kind of
and if you're not putting that effort in, you can just fall into obscurity so quickly. You've got to stay on it, haven't you? Our Instagram just died. If you're not posting stuff, it just dies.
You don't exist, do you?
Yeah. Totally.
Exactly.
So
and all the people that used to recommend you just move on as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it does. It's wherever your head is and your passion is, that's the thing that's going to grow. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing. And where can people find you? Where are the best places to find what you're doing?
Where can they find us?
Well, Instagram. So Lawson Films UK. Our website's Lawson Photography. See, lawsonphotography.co.uk. Go there.
Bring it
check
back.
out what we used to do. And lawsonfilms.co.uk. We're really original with names, aren't we? Yeah.
And you also have a podcast, don't you? Got a weekly podcast?
We do. Our Creative Commune. Yeah. Find us on Apple, Spotify. Blah, blah, blah.
Anywhere you get your podcast.
It's very much. It's hard to even describe it as an industry-related podcast. It is vaguely related to.
We talk about what we're up to, what we're doing, plans, a lot of work stuff, but also just a lot of inane.
If I was to describe it, I'd describe it as as a cozy chat with wedding industry friends, and you feel like you're part of it when you're listening to it.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's a great marketing
That's
line.
what
We're
wanted.
stealing that.
Yeah, we want people to just listen to it on the way to a wedding. You know, it's just like hanging out with your friends who sometimes talk about weddings, but you know, sometimes just chat shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely love your podcast, so I really recommend people go out and listen to that after they've spent the 3 hours listening to this one, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as long as this.
Yeah. But thank you ever so much, guys. It was great hearing all about your business, and we cannot wait to host you in October at Coda.
So excited.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Can't wait.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Coda Podcast. We have many more conversations with inspiring filmmakers still to come, so make sure to subscribe to be notified when the next episode goes live.